Howdy folks, Spencer here, and today I'm going to be responding to some questions I've recently received and going over some topics that I've seen being discussed in the various discords that I'm in. This is going to be a talking head video. The text that you see up on screen is going to be here the entire time, so if you want to tab out and just listen to this, feel free to do so. And if you want to skip ahead to any of the topics listed up on screen, chapters as always will be listed down below. And the first topic here is a question that I've seen pop up a few times, and that is, has my new character playthrough, the storyline streams that I've been doing, has that changed my perspective at all on the game? Yes, it definitely has, and it's given me some ideas for some new content plans, but the biggest thing is just how chaotic the starting experience is on a brand new account. The game really does teach you nothing, and the gear that they toss at you is just all over the place. So I think there's definitely some room for some content targeted at guiding people through those lower levels, and that is something that I am probably going to try and explore at some point in the near future. And it's also revealed to me just how poor of a condition some of that early game content is in. The Romulan story arc especially could certainly use a few touch-ups here and there. Some of the cutscenes are very low resolution, have really buggy animations, and in general, it just feels like that Romulan story arc that I've been going through could use a bit of TLC. And next up at number 2, what are my thoughts on the Captain Alteration token that we're getting with the Unparalleled season, or season 32, that drops on May 28th on PC and middle of June for those of you on console? I think it's a good thing to give people the option to change their race and sex within a specific faction. Remember, per the blog, this is limited to just allowing you to change within the faction that you're already on. So you can't change a Romulan captain over to a pure Fed. You would only be able to swap between like Romulan, Reman, and Alien if you were starting off as a Romulan. So there are some limitations there. Keep that in mind. But I do think that overall this is a good thing. It means a lot of people can swap to the race that they've always wanted to be, or the sex that they want their character to be. A lot of people made characters prior to some of the newer species being added into the game, and maybe they wanted to be that newer species right off the bat. This is going to enable players the option to do that. And if you're a performance oriented player, you're going to have the option to go to an alien and get that extra trait slot. So I do think it's a really good thing. And my only concern with it is, what is the side effect of it going to be? Hale already hinted on the forums that there was going to be a big warning to it. So I would assume at a minimum that it's probably going to reset all of your outfits that you have. But the question is, what is it going to do beyond that? Is it going to do anything to your accolades? Is it going to reset anything else? There's a lot of questions that we don't have the answers to yet, but when that token does drop on May 28th on PC, I am going to be live as soon as the server comes back up, and if it is something I can get in the Zen store, I'm going to pick one up and I'm going to test it out just to see what it does to a character. So I think overall it's a good thing. I do wish that it did include careers also, because I know a lot of people that would love to swap off an engineer over to a sire tac, but I think the race and sex is a good start, and hopefully we can see that expanded in the future, because a career change would be a big deal for a lot of people also. Question 3, what are my thoughts on the upcoming Season 32 event rewards? This is the Unparalleled season event where they're giving us 500 Lobby crystals, an Epic Phoenix Prize token, 30k to lithium. There's, I think it's Type 14 shuttlecraft, and I believe that's a console, not actually hangar pets. And then there's a new torpedo that we know nothing about. Those rewards are really substantial, specifically the 500 Lobby crystals and the Epic Phoenix Prize token. To me, that indicates that the metrics are probably down a little bit for player retention. The first half of this year has been very frustrating for players. We've had a lot of server-related issues. When you mention server issues, you get a response back, what is your ISP? Even though you've got multiple people from different parts of the world or different parts of the US seeing clocks tick backwards in the same run in some of these maps. It's been very frustrating. and the gaslighting about it just being an ISP issue, that of course also ends up being very frustrating. We've also had some lackluster ships released this year. The accessories have not been very appealing with some of these newer ships. The stats on some of these ships have just not appealed to the player base at large. The anniversary bundle being underwhelming is also a factor that may hurt player retention. The Dice and Science Destroyer bundle being a science ship bundle probably didn't help with player retention because those ships just don't appeal to as many people. We've had lockbox ships with items on them that took months to get fixed. The Deuter stat, the trade off that took 3 months to get fixed. And when it was fixed, we learned that it is one of the worst starship traits in the entire game because whoever designed it doesn't understand how EPS works. So it's just from a systems and endgame gameplay perspective, it's been a very rough year. And I think that's probably hurt the player metrics a little bit, and I think that's why you're seeing such a significant reward being offered here, because they want as many people as possible to log back in for this upcoming season, and they want that to carry over to the summer event that will pop up shortly after this new season event ends. And then after that, they'll do the next part of the event campaign, and they'll just, continue to try and keep people hooked through that. So I think it's, again, just really substantial rewards to try and get people back, because it has been very hard to stay motivated to keep wanting to play this game with the various issues that we've seen throughout the first half of this year. Question 4, what are my thoughts on the Cryptic to DECA transition thus far? I think that if you were concerned about the future of Star Trek Online, you really shouldn't be anymore. DECA has shown us over the past couple of months that they are very serious about keeping Star Trek Online alive. We have seen them hiring a ton of individuals with a Star Trek background to come in and work on this game. We saw them hire a bunch of people from Star Trek Infinite, and in just the past couple of days, we've seen them hire both Pundis and Scorpion, both of which are very talented artists that are going to be designing ships in the future. So I think you don't need to worry about the future of the game. DECA is here for the long run. They want this game to be successful long term, and I think we're going to start to see some significant changes from them after 2024. For the rest of 2024, though, Cryptic is still going to be mostly in charge of things as the rest of the year progresses. Eventually, Cryptic will probably end up being dissolved and everything will be under DECA's control. But for right now, Cryptic is still in charge, and they are working with the team at DECA that is going to be replacing them, and they are trying to make sure that this transition goes through as smoothly as possible. That's why you've seen the event campaign rewards increase so much on Cryptic's side, because they want to make sure that we have incentive to keep playing throughout the year. And I think with the other event rewards that we're seeing buffed up, like the Unparalleled or Season 32 stuff that I was just talking about, Cryptic wants to make sure that the login numbers continue to be good throughout the year. They want to make sure that each of the major events are getting a surge of players, and they're hoping that the back-to-back events that they're doing will keep people engaged. So Cryptic is going to try to keep us engaged throughout the year, and then by the end of the year or early next year, we're going to see DECA probably have fully taken over, and we'll see what direction they want to take the game. Question 5, what changes do I want to see DECA make to STO? Number 1 is a throwback to the first topic or question here, and that's regarding the new character playthrough that I've been doing. But one of the biggest changes that I think DECA needs to go in and do is give some touch-up to the early storylines for each faction. Those are the entry point for new people entering this game, and if they're having the same level of quality with the intro storylines that I've been seeing in my playthrough, that's not great for player retention. So going through, giving that early content some love would be a very good thing for them to do. Next up, of course, is going to be server performance. When I go in with a fully spec'd out team and we're trying to do an elite task force operation, I expect that when we hit abilities or try to fire our weapons, that the abilities and weapons will actually work. Right now, we don't have that, and it is quite frustrating. So improving server performance, ideally making it so that we only have one task force operation instance per thread or whatever on the server would be ideal, at least for some of the elite stuff. Right now, it's very frustrating to know that part of the reason that we're lagging out is because there may be, another couple of instances of that map running on the same thread, and it just can't handle it. So improving that would be really beneficial, especially for endgame player retention. I would also like to see a way for people to be able to get caught up faster with the Endeavor system. Right now, it takes about 3 years for someone to get caught up, and that's a very demotivating thing. It's meaning that anyone new into the game that wants to get into any competitive high-end content, whether that be PvP or chasing DPS or speed records, they're going to need to wait 3 years before they can do that. And given that there isn't great server performance and there's not exactly a ton of repeatable, fun to play content at endgame, it's hard to keep players motivated for a 3-year stretch. So giving people a way to get caught up on that faster would be beneficial. If they could get it done in 9 months to a year, I think that would be much more reasonable. And of course, we have the lockbox and promotional systems. We need more transparency with what their drop rates are. We need a guaranteed pity system versus the just increased odds that the current pity system has. And most importantly, we need a route to be able to make the lockbox and promotional ships we acquire account-wide unlocks. That isn't waiting for them to show up in a Muds bundle a couple of years later. It is very expensive to acquire a single lockbox or promotional ship. Often it can cost $100 to $200+ in some cases. For some people it may cost over $300 just to get this ship for a single character. So giving us a way to make those ships account-wide unlocks would be very, very beneficial. I think you'd see more people engage with the lockbox and promotional systems if that was the case, and I think you would see more people working on alternate characters and investing more into the game if that system was like that. Because even for someone like myself, I have a lot of funds within the game. I've been very fortunate playing the exchange, but it is simply not financially feasible for me to go in and set up a bunch of alternate characters. Because if I wanted to get all of the lockbox and promotional ships, I would want to go in and fully set up a build the way I want to set it up on each of those characters. I might need to spend $1,000+ per character I'm wanting to fully set up. So again, giving us a way to make those lockbox and promotional ships account-wide unlocks once we've acquired them would be very beneficial. Even if it was just a token that cost like $50 in the store, I think would be a huge improvement for the game. And number 7 here, for those of you that are actually interested in trying out these supported runs, the team that I am currently playing with, RNG, is currently open for trials. We do have a minimum requirement though. You have to have at least an 800k DPS parse in Infected Space Advanced Elite or Hive Space Elite. It is a team environment, so it is expected that everyone's going to end up supporting or tanking the rest of the team 80+% of the time. We mostly run in the late US afternoon or evening hours, and if this is something that sounds interesting to you, you want to explore that environment, then reach out to me on Discord and we'll see about arranging a trial with you. And the final topic for today is, what are my upcoming content plans? So for the upcoming week, I want to get my event campaign recommendations done. I actually already did this, but I was not happy with the first take that I did, and I'm going to end up splitting it up. So I'm going to do a separate video for the Lobby recommendations, the C-Store recommendations, and the premium ship recommendations. I think that's going to end up being better for both me and also for those of you wanting to watch those videos. The video that I did the other day was about 40 minutes. It was a bit messy, and I just really did not feel good about it. So I'm going to get started working on that here probably Monday, and you'll see those 3 videos drop out one by one throughout the next week. And aside from that, we've got the new season dropping on the 28th, so I will be streaming that right away. And I'm going to be continuing some of the other beginner focus guides that I've been trying to do over the past couple of months. I'm probably going to do another how-to resource guide here soon, which should hopefully help out people quite a bit. But that's going to be it for today. As always, thank you to all channel members and viewers for the continued support. I don't have this updated from the stream that I did just a few hours ago, so I apologize. I'll get this updated for the next video. But thank you all for the support, and if you have any questions you want to have me answer on the next Q&A video that I'll do later this month, then feel free to drop them in the comments section down below. Until next time, see you guys around.